ever since our mother, who is now 58, embarked on a new chapter of her life by remarrying a few years ago. My sister, 29 years old, and I, 27 years old, have found ourselves navigating through a maze of complex emotions and strained relationships. The dynamics within our family underwent a dramatic shift, leaving us grappling with challenges we never anticipated. Before our mother remarried, she had always harbored hopes of bringing our fractured family together. However, her methods were far from healthy, veering into the territory of manipulation and gaslighting. It wasn't until my sister and I embarked on a journey of self-discovery and sought therapy that we began to recognize these toxic patterns in our interactions with our mother. The decision to cut off all contact with our mother and her new husband was not one we took lightly. It was a measure born out of necessity to protect our mental and emotional well-being. Despite our efforts to establish boundaries and reclaim agency over our lives, the journey toward healing has been arduous, marked by moments of uncertainty and self-doubt. Last year, amidst the backdrop of our strained relationship with our mother, my sister experienced the joyous occasion of becoming a mother herself. However, even in this moment of celebration, the specter of familial discord loomed large. While we made a concession for our mother to meet her grandchild, it was made clear that her husband would not be welcome due to space constraints and my sister's discomfort. The aftermath of this decision unleashed a storm of emotions, particularly from our mother, who felt her husband was entitled to meet his grandchild. This disagreement served as a poignant reminder of the gaping void left by our late father's sudden passing in 2016. With no other paternal figure in our lives, the question of who assumes the role of the baby's grandfather remains a poignant and unresolved issue. In the months that followed, tentative efforts were made to reconcile our fractured family ties. Yet, the specter of uneasiness continues to linger, casting a shadow over our interactions with our mother. Despite her assurances that her new husband would not supplant our father or infringe upon his legacy, her actions have often contradicted her words. She persists in referring to her husband as the baby's grandfather, going so far as to invent a grandpa name against my sister's wishes, thereby exacerbating her discomfort. Furthermore, her demeanor towards us oscillates between maternal concern and condescension, as she admonishes us to acknowledge her husband's presence in the room. Repeatedly, she implores us to accept her new husband into our family fold, urging reconciliation and unity. Yet, the wounds of the past run deep, leaving my sister and me grappling with conflicting emotions. While we acknowledge the complexity of the situation, we cannot ignore the unsettling changes that have accompanied our mother's remarriage. The arrival of her new husband seems to have unearthed a latent narcissistic streak within our mother, casting doubt on the authenticity of her intentions. We find ourselves torn between the desire for familial harmony and the need to prioritize our emotional well-being. In the midst of this tumultuous journey, my sister and I cling to the hope that time will bring clarity and resolution to our fractured family dynamics. Until then, we navigate the precarious terrain of familial relationships with a mixture of trepidation and resilience, holding on to the belief that healing is possible, even in the face of adversity. When she was still no contact, I remember having a visit from her and she basically starting slinging ugly remarks about my sister's mother-in-law. My sister wasn't there, by the way. She basically said that it was sad that her grandchild would have to have my sister's mother-in-law as a grandmother. My sister's mother-in-law isn't perfect, but at least she lets her son and daughter-in-law live their own lives. Tell your sister that if she wants another senior influence in her child's life, check with your local senior center. There is sure to be at least one or two who would be thrilled to become family and share holidays and milestones with them. You might be able to join them. Family does not necessarily mean shared DNA, but love, respect, and love. I've come to the conclusion that she's inherited this behavior from our grandmother. Our grandmother was a great-grandmother, but a terrible mother-in-law. Our uncle and aunt went mostly no contact from the family for many years. It wasn't until I was a teenager that my mom finally reconciled with my uncle. My granny was mostly tame, but when my grandfather passed away, she became a bit of a loose cannon. This got worse when she was diagnosed with dementia. My granny absolutely adores my mom's new husband and has basically told me accept him as a member of the family or else I was sinning. One time she told me that if I didn't accept my mom's hubby into the family, then no good man would want to marry me because he would see evil in my eyes. Another time my mom's new hubby was performing. He's a musician BTW in my town and my mom and granny were coming with him. My granny called me a few days before the concert and told me to come to the performance, listen and enjoy, and then go to him after the performance to shake his hand and tell him that I liked the show. I was 25 at the time, by the way, and not 5 years old. Weary face with rolling eyes, woman face palming, medium light skin tone. When I was a kid, I absolutely loved my parents and thought of them as my heroes. Even though I had my own set of teenage angst, I still loved and respected my parents. My dad and I didn't always see eye to eye, but I still loved him nonetheless. If I could describe him, he was like a Foghorn Leghorn or Fred Flintstone, a combination of Raphael and Michelangelo from TMNT. When my dad passed away, it was one of the most crushing blows to my life. It was a very difficult time for me. When my mom started to date again my sister, and I felt uneasy. I didn't know why I felt this, but I knew if my mom remarried, our relationship would never be happy again. She dated men who had a few red flags over the next few years. Each time she would go out with a man expecting to have a similar bond with them like she did with my dad, only for them to do something that would tick her off and resulting in them breaking up. My sister and I definitely believed that our father reigned in a lot of our mother's behavior when he was still alive. Our mother's new hubby treats her like she's God's gift to mankind, so she in turn probably believes that also.